Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So I just saw a puzzle post here. I don't remember if it was yesterday or what have you, but it's a puzzle by SennyK. We've done a puzzle or two by them before, but they seem to have created a new rule type. Always like to see new rules and stuff like that, so we can kind of work through what they do and how you can progress to them. This one is called German Sum Introduction, because it's an intro to the German sum rule set that they've created. Essentially, what's the best way to describe it? If it's like an X sum and a German whisper combined is, I guess, is what the best way to do it is. So let's dive in this one, see what those rules are, and start to understand what's going on here. So German sum introduction, SennyK, normal Sudoku rules. So every row, column, and 3x3 box will contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Now the German sum. A clue outside the grid gives the sum of all continuously adjacent digits with a difference of at least 5 up to, but not including, the first digit with a difference of 4 or less in that row or column from the direction of the clue. A digit in the first cell is always included in the sum. So what the heck does that mean? Let's look at the 12 clue. So from this direction, we're looking here. The first digit is this one, and this one will always be part of this clue. So it'll always have another digit next to it that is at least 5 away from it. And then we will continue that in some manner until we get to 12. And then once we've hit 12, the next digit in series is going to have to be 4 or less different than the last digit. So the example here is if row 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, is 7, 2, 8, didn't click over, 8, 3, 1, 5, 4. What the heck did that just do? 5, 4, 6, 9. Then the sum would be 20, because that's what the clue is. It would include, from this left side, all of the digits up into the point where something breaks the German whisper style of clue. So the 7 is 5 away from the 2. The 2 is 5 away from the 8. The 8 is 5 away from the 3, or more, always say. And then once we hit this 1, we've just broken the German whisper. So this is what would be adding together. If you look at what those are, they add to 20. So that is the concept here. So essentially, I think it was also kind of noted is, if you think about it in the sense of, we're starting from each clue, we're starting to draw a German whisper either in the row or the column, depending on where the clue is. And once we get to whatever point it is that we have to deduce where we're stopping, that's where the German whisper would end. And then those, of course, will add to that 20. So that is the rule set. Now, it's supposed to be like a 2-ish star. It's supposed to be easy enough so we can start to understand how to work with this and then roll from that. And hopefully there will be some more that are a bit more difficult that we can kind of, if we can figure out how to work through these, then we can start to understand how everything's going together and we can work through. So, but this is just the first one so far. That said, link is going to be in that description. Let's get at it. Let's see what we can figure out. So, how are we going to start this is the question. And the question is going to be, is it easier to think about low clues or high clues? Because let's think about the low clue to start with. What is the max distance we could ever go from, let's say, the 12 or the 11, right? Well, you could put a low digit, a high digit, and then another low digit, right? But then you wouldn't be able to go up to another high digit, because then we'd be at minimum a 6, 7 for 2 highs. Or we could just start on a high digit and then go down to a low digit. So it's either 2 cells or 3 cells long is what we're being told, essentially. Now, is there some way to work out which one of these we can actually get a grip on? Or is like I said, is the 40 going to be the more restrictive? Because what happens what are the options if we think about this 11, right? Let's just kind of go through the motions. Well, we could start with a 9 and a 2, or an 8 with a 3. Those would work, right? Or we could try to start low and 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we can start low at like a 1. I'll just do it over here as a separate thought process here. You could do like a 1, 8, 2. Something like that would also work. Now, of course, it doesn't matter what order these are for that total. But then once you've gotten to this point where you're at the 11, this now will have to be a short distance away from the previous digit. So if this is a 2 or a 3, this will have to stay within 4 of that. So it would have to be 6 or lower if it were the 2, let's say. So essentially it would kind of get into, not Dutch whisper, but you get the concept, right? Okay, so I don't know if that tells me anything, to be honest with you, though. So what happens with the 40? Oh, well, that's the best way to think about it. I didn't even consider the 40. Where the heck would a 5 go? It would have to go here. There's no other place it could work. Because the second you put a 5 on a German whisper, you're stopping the German whisper. So we know this is going to be just some set of digits that are going to go back and forth, highs and lows, in some semblance to be able to then have the 5 end it. And then, of course, 5 and 40 will be the total that we can do. Okay. Now, what does that 5 do? Because that pushes this 23, right? Because how can we get up to a 23? We have to have, you think about the bare minimums or the maximums. It's probably a better way to think about the 23. You could do like a 3, 4, and you could do an 8, 9. Well, that's get us up to 24, right? Because the 8, 9 is 17, the 3 would get you to 20, plus the 4 would get you to 24. So at max, we can get up to 1 above the 23. The point is, though, we're going to have to use all 4 of those cells. Now we can start making lines as well. Ooh, get back on the track there, buddy. So we can kind of keep it as a concept of how this is going to work. Now, I don't know that well, I guess what we can say is we can never put a 1 on this thing, right? Because again, the most we can ever do would be a 9, 8. That gets us to 17. If we try to put a 1 on it, we're only at 18. So we'd have to put a 5 with it. That clearly doesn't work. So the problem is, I think we could organize these in a multitude of ways where we could make them work. Because it's either going to be too high here or too high here. And we'll have to find some way to make those work. And can we get rid of like a 6? Because if we put a 6 on, yeah, the 6 is never going to work. And maybe we can rule out the 7 as well. Because let's say you try to put a 6 on this thing. Well, you have to put a 1 next to it. There's no other option because it's a German whisper. So that's 7. Well, then the final 2 digits have to add to the brain to stop functioning. How does that happen? Another 16. Well, you obviously can't make a low and a high add to 16. What about the 7s? Because if we can keep pushing digits over here and away from this, that's going to help us, right? And if we can push the 9 and the 8 onto this, then I think we're going to know what all of those digits are. So what happens if we do the 7? Now, if we put a 7, we could put a 2, but that's as high as we're going to go. Well, that's 9. We still need 14. We can't ever get up to 14 because the bare minimum we have, or the most we could ever do, would be, again, the a 4 and a 9. Well, that's only 13. So this has to have 9s and 8s on it. And if it has 9s and 8s on it, we're at 17. We need 6 more, so it has to be 2 and 4. So this is 9, 8, 2, 4. These have to be 1, 3, 6, and 7. Now, I don't know what that tells me at this moment, but we've got to start thinking maybe about the 30 and the 34 now. I guess what also we can start to think about is there's going to be a limitation to our 5s. Like, where can a 5 actually start going on some of these things? Because obviously it can't be on either of any of these clues. And if we know we have to get at least 34 worth of digits, it's going to push the 5 pretty far. Even the 30 will probably push pretty far. Can we work out what that is? Because let's say this is a 34. We're going to have 11 left over after we do whatever it is we do. Now, I guess the most then we could do would be 3 left over. But that would have to include the 5. And we're never going to be able to put a bunch of low digits because then we wouldn't ever be able to make the German whisper work. So yeah, I think essentially the 5 will have to go into one of these. Because if we go down any further, we're just going to start breaking because we'd have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits to get to 34. Now, even if we didn't have the restriction of the German whisper, that would be a tight shave because 9, 8, 7, 6, 4 would be the only way you can make that work. So that ain't going to do. In fact, this may push even harder. Because again, let's think about, we're going to have minimum 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. So it's at least 3 lows and 3 highs. The most we can ever do on all the lows would be 2, 3, and 4. That's 9. The most we could do with the highs is 7, 8, 9, which is 24. That's only 33. We can't put a 5 here either. Let's think about the 30, because I think it's going to have a 5 in one of those 3, but I think we could still push this to be a 5. Because again, we could do a 2, 3, 4 and a 9, 8, 7, and we'd be high enough at that point. But this one I don't think we can do, because again, we could have 3 high digits, 24 plus 2. Well, maybe we could do that one actually. So I don't like that because I think this could be a 5. Because we could do 9, 8, 7. Gets us to 24. And we just have to find a way to put 2 in. Well, we couldn't do that, could we? Because of the way the 2 and the 4 would have to be distributed. Because the 4 would have to be in the middle of this thing. And there wouldn't be any way we can put the 3 lows and then 2 highs. Because we'd be at 9 and then only 2 highs would be 17. That's not going to get us there. Okay, so yeah, the 5 does have to push out here by a little bit of a restriction there. So, where do we run from that? And do we think about, like, these will be a 4 and a 6 pair. That's another way to think about it, because of this being a German whisper, which means these will be a 1, 9 pair. And then we'll push inward. Now, does this have to be 2, 8? I think there's so much of a gap between the times when I have to think about these long German whispers that I can never remember if that's the actual restriction. Because what happens if we were to put a 7 on one of these, right? You'd have to put a 2. Then you'd have to put an 8. Now, you can make that work, because then you could put a 3 here, right? As long as this was the 9. Okay, forget that. So, anywho, there's a little bit of restriction there is what I'm trying to get at. What about crossing over, or again getting back to the 11s and 12s here? The 23 I think we're good with. The 34 and the 30 I think we've kind of taken it as far as we can at the moment. Unless there's some other way I can think about it. What about the 27? I don't think is going to have the same restriction on pushing the 5. The 12 doesn't really either. And we know the 5 can't go here, but because this thing can only go so much anyway, it's not necessarily the 5 that's going to stop us from doing what these have to do. We're just pushing the 5 in some of these conditions because it just cannot go in certain spots because it would instantly break this. Okay, let's think about something else then. Let's have a little brain juice here. So how are we going to get into this next one? Now, of course, these can't be 4s. So one of these two will be. So this can't be, or we have to put an 8. So this is going to be a 2-9 pair. That will be the 4-8. These don't mean anything at the moment. Let's see. What else can we do? Does that really tell us anything, though? That's the, let's say this were, thinking about the 34, if that were a 2. That would be the 4, that would be the 9. No, because that could just be 7 or 8. And I don't know that really creates a problem along that 34 line. And this 30, I think, is kind of the same concept. I wonder if there's some other mathematical way to start thinking about some of these. Or if it really is just now we could start looking at how the 12 could operate because of what these are. Because again, the 12 is either going to be 2 lows and 1 high, or just a high and a low. And if it is the high and the low, it would be a 9-3. There's no other way to go about it. If it was 2 lows, does that break this? No, because we can put 1 low here and another one here. And that should all work. Now, what would be the digits if it was 2 low digits and a high digit? We did like a 1-2 with a 9 would work. 1-3 with an 8 would work. Well, 1-3 with an 8 can't work because we can't make that occur. Because it would break this. And the second we go above the 3, we're forcing a 9, so that's never going to happen. So if it's 3 digits, and 2 of those are low, it has to be a 1-2-9, right? I'm going to put that in for a second. This is not the given. And if it's just 2 digits, it is a 3-9. I think those are the only options. Yeah. Because again, the second you try to put an 8 on this thing, you're forcing there to be 4 left over. So it'd have to be a 1-3 and break this. If you tried to put a 7 on it, you'd be limited down to a 1 or a 2. And that won't work because we can't get up to the 12. So yeah, this is just 1, 2, 3, 9. Which pushes 4s and 8s over here. Does that matter? Or do we have to go back now and look at this? Oh, this is actually just 4, 5, and 8, excuse me. 4, 5, 8. That's the case. One of these is a 5. One of these has to be a 2. 2, so one of these is a 2. Okay, so there's some... Oh, wait, is that correct? No, wait, hold on. It's either a 9, 3. Oh, that's what I'm messing myself up on. This is not pushing those here. I've got to pull myself back a little bit from that. Because we still don't know if it's 3 digits or 2 digits, which would leave this open to be something else. So I guess this marking like this is actually not even really correct in this instance. We do know there's always a 9 though. So we probably should just mark it as such. And of course, one of these will be a 9, but I don't know which one's which. Now, is there some interaction between what this will do and now this understanding? I don't know. Of course, we do know that whatever's left over is going to add to 15. So we know there's a 5 up here somewhere. So it has to... The other 2 digits just have to add to 10 in some way. The same thing may be true with the 34. I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective. Because we know what's left over after we've gotten our 34 is 11. And we know one of those 2 is a 5. The problem is, does that mean this is a 5, 6? Or is there still the possibility that this... No, because we said it's not just the 5 that's being restricted. It's the totality of what's not on the line, right? So if we know this line has to at least go to here, I think that does mean this is a 5, 6 pair, but let's make sure we're correct on that again. Or no, maybe we just only know that it has to go here, right? That's what we said. No, that can't be correct. Hold on. 6. I'm going to rethink this again. If we have only 6 digits, again, it's the 7, 8, 9, and the 2, 3, 4, which was not enough. Okay, yeah, so it does have to go to here. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Meant to hit this button, not that one. You will do this. You will be a 5, 6. Now, again, I don't know if that actually tells me a whole lot, but I guess it removes 6 from here in some fashion. And then it says, where does a 4 go? Either, well, it can't go here. It can't go in any of those, so it has to go here. That makes you okay, that's the way I should have been thinking about it. Now I've got a little bit of an idea. So that forces you to be the 2, you to be the 9, which means you are the 4 and the 8. Okay. That doesn't quite tell me what those are, but we do now know what the orientation of this thing is. So you have to be 7 or 8. You have to be 1 or 3. You have to be 1 or 3, and then you have to be 7 or 8. And then the 1, 3 is going to tell us that this is the 8. You are the 7. You are the 1. You are the 3. And that should all add to 34, which it does. Okay. A little bit better now. That 1 now is going to tell us what these are. So this is our 9. So you are our 4. You are the 6 and the 1. Good. Now we can get these guys going. You will be 2 or 3. You will be 2 or 3. And then you will be 7s and 8s. We can use the same 2, 3 trick to say that you are the 8, you are the 7, you are the 2, you are the 3. That's a lot nicer, because now we can say you are 5 and 6. 6, thank you. You're not a 5 anymore. So that's starting to push this down a little bit. Sort of. And then maybe we can start to say what some of this other stuff can and can't be. So let's think about how we're going to do that next. I don't think we got any Sudoku out of this, really, did we? Because it's really just two vertical lines at this stage. I mean, we do push a 4 here, we do push a 3 here, but I don't know if, and a 6 there. I don't think that is really helping. But maybe the 8 does. That sort of a thing, because we have this 20 over here. So let's start thinking about these crossing patterns. Because this 20 has to, it's going to because we're going to be able to make some more lines here, essentially. It has to at least get to this 9, right? So we know this is a low and this is a high. So that's going to be 2 highs. And I guess this could just be 3 digits, though. You will be from 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you can't be a 3 or a 2, and you can't be a 4. You are a 1. Now that'll probably extend this, though, because now you have to be 6 or 7. So we're at minimum or most 17. So we have to at least go one more, and then that will stop at here because we're not going to be able to continue the trend because the 2 is now blocking. So this is low. Stop it. Go back over to here. So that's 10. These two have to add to 10 in some way. So it can't put a 7 here because we had to put a 3 there. This is the 6. This is the 4. Okay. We are starting to finally understand a little bit more about what we're doing here. Good. Now, let's start 27 or the 18. Maybe the 27 is more useful. Because, of course, we're going to have to at least take on 4 cells, right? It's probably going to be more than that. Because with the most we can ever again do would be the 2 highest digits we can get, which would be 9 and 7 in this case, which is just 16. There's no way we can make the 27 with going from 17 with 2 low digits, because the 2 low digits max would be 7 more. So we do continue. That gets us onto this. Now we know this will be low. Can't be 2, 3, or 4. It is 1. You're not 1. You have to go high. Can't be 6. Could be 7 or 9. You have to go back low. Can't use a 3. You can't use the 1. So it's either 2 or 4, and we can't put a 4 in the middle of a German whisper, so it's a 2. You have to go back high. Can't be 6. It's 7 or 9. So what is the math? 7, 9 is 16, plus the 3 gets us to 19, plus the 8 means that we are set. Now, the other thing we can also say is this now, we have to use that negative constraint we thought about a while back in saying this digit has to be within 4 of the 8. Now, it's not going to be, well, it's not really too big of a deal here, but it might be in some of the other ones, but we can't do 1, 2, 3, or 4. We can't do 7 or 9, so it's either 5 or 6. Thank you. And is that going to, because we can also start thinking about these 2, or these 3. And we just know one of those will be a 9, I guess. I don't know how helpful that's going to be. So let's move on to 18, 12. Which one do we like better? Let's think about the 18, I guess, because now we have this guy sitting here. So the bare minimum, I guess, is going to be 3. Yeah, because there's no way to do 2 lows and a high to get to 18. So you'd have, if you were going to do 2 lows, you'd have to also have 2 highs. So that's 4, but you could do 2 highs and 1 low. right? Yeah, easily. So we have to at least do this. Now, can we actually extend it to the 6? Because if we do extend it to the 6, this has to be a 1. And that'll get us to 7. And then these two digits have to take on 11 more. That could work, yes. So, does that inform us what these can be? Or do we think about, well, this is a 6 because of the row, and then these two digits, what are they? 4 and 5. And then you will be a 5, you will be a 4. So there's more work we could have done there. So we know if it gets to the 6, that's where it stops. These are 2 and 7, looks like. Put those in. And I wonder if we go back to our Sudoku here then. But what happens to make this work? Because if we can restrict a lot of this stuff, we might be pushing this 18 more than just thinking about options. Like, what are you? Let's do this for a second and see what comes out of it. 3, 5, 7s, and 8s. You can't be 3 or 8. And then you will be 5, 7s, and 9s as well. And you can't be 7s. So you are... Somehow I hit a 0 there. You are the 7. So this is going to be a 3, 5, 8. Okay, so there was more there. You will be what? Because again, then we might be able to transition to some of the other ones. 1s, 4s, and 6s. Not particularly useful right there, but that's fine. So now maybe we think a little bit more about the 18, or we transition. How do we make an 18? If we don't go to, well, if we go to the 6, we know it's stopping there, and it'd be a 6 and a 1. So we'd have the 11 left over. Could do 8, 3, could do 9, 2. So I think there's multiple ways that could work, and we don't have any real restrictions of these yet. Now, if we didn't go to the 6, we have to do it in just the 3 digits. So it'd either be a 9, 8 with a 1 in between it, which wouldn't work because the 1 looks at it, or it'd be a 9, 7 with a 2 in the middle, which doesn't work because we'd break this 2, 7. So I think it has to go to the 6. Let's just make sure that's actually correct first. Again, if we stay at 3 digits, 9, 8 with a 1 in the middle won't work because the 1 is looking at it here. 9, 7 won't work because we'd have to put a 2 in the middle. Again, the 7, 2 would break this. Well, it doesn't matter if it's the middle, but you get the point. The 9, it can't do a 9, 6. The only other way then to go would be an 8, 7. And then to make 18, you'd have to put a 3 in between them. You can't put a 3 in between an 8 and a 7. So this is continuing to here. Perfect. Means you are a 1. You have to be from 7, 8, or 9. And then you have to be from 2, 3, or 4. Can't be 4. And these just have to... Oh, we said this can't be a 7. Because if it was... Well, you'd be a 2 when you break that, but it also doesn't make the math work. So, okay. So this is either the 8, 3 or the 9, 2. And I think we're good there for now. Let's go running back to our Sudoku here for a second, see if we can find anything else. This is a 1. We know there's a 1 down here. You can't be a 7 anymore. So you're either 3 or 6. There will be 1s and 7s down here because that may be helpful. I think that leaves those open. 2s. I don't think we really have anything there. 3s, we don't really have anything. One of those is a 4. One of those is a 4. One of those is a 4. No. One of these will be a 5. We know one of those has to be a 5 already, so you can't be a 5 because of the math we did. And now this 30 is going to probably help us with the 7, 9 here, but let's come back to what we were doing. And again, just see if there's anything. Yeah, there's a 7 in one of these 2, which means you are that 2 and a 7. Which means this is our 2 and you are our 9 to make the math work. Good. What are these 3 now? They are 3, 7, and 8. 3, 7, 8. You're not 7. And these will be what? 5 and 6. And then you 2 will be 3 and 8. Okay. Let's move on to you. We know the 30 clue has to continue at least to here, because again, we could do 3 highs and 3 lows. 9, 8, 7 gets us to 24. 3 and 4. Could we actually do it in less than that here? It's not really going to matter too much because it's going to remove you and tell us what this is, but I think let's go with that for the moment. You can't be a 6 and you can't be a 4, so you are that 1. You can't be a 4 anymore because this has to be a high digit. You have to be a low, well, you have to be low, so you can't be 9. You have to be high, so you can't be 1 or 3. And the 6 or the 7 says this can't be a 6, so it is the 7 because we can't use the 1 anymore. So you are a 2, you are a 9, you are a 7. This has to be an 8. There's nothing else that works. And what is our math? We currently have 27. You have to be a 3. And that will finish this line. You will not be 3s. And now what we can do is say this has to block this line, right? And what are these digits possible? 4, 5, and 6. I guess any of them does that, but you can't be 4. And neither you 2 can be 6. So you are the 6, you are the 4, and the 5 by Sudoku. One of those will be our 1. Cool. All right, 12. Now, I think we still have these. No, we can't use that 1 anymore because it has to be down here. You're not 7s, by the way. So I think that the equation for the 12 is now just a 9, 3, but let's make sure that's accurate. Because what happens if we go to the 2? We have to put another low digit here. It can't be 1, so the minimum it could be would be a 3. Well, if that's a 2, 3 pair, you have to put a 9 in between it because of the German whisper, and we've broken this thing. So this is 9, 3. That's the case. You're not 3. You are 3, and then you will be 8, 3, and the 5 and the 6 will probably come back in some way. Yeah, we can go this way. This is 5 or 6, so it can't be 5, it's 6. 5, 6. Okay, what are these 2? We need the 7 right here, and we need the 2 here. Let's put our line in. We don't know which way this works yet until we do this rest of the stuff, so I think what we're going to have to do is get onto our 11, unless we can work through some more Sudoku first to help us out there. What are you 2? 4 and 5. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Trying to see if maybe we have triples or anything going on here, or we have more Sudoku to work with. Because again, the more information we get on this 11, the better off we are, right? One of these 2 will be a 2. One of those 2 will be a 2. One of those will be a 3. This is a 4. Let's put that in. I think we're done with 4s. No, we're not. We have an X-wing going on right there. That's right. But we'll keep on moving. One of those 2 will be a 5. Okay, sixes, 1, 2, 3. Sixes are in X-Wing. Sevens look like they're in X-Wing. Again, I'm going to put those in so we have the information. I will call them back after I finish this puzzle. One of these will be an 8. Again, hoping that some of these cross over and we can just do the Sudoku, but 8, no. Let's try the 9s, and then of course if we don't get them, we'll go to this clue here. 9s, one of those, 2, one of those. Yeah, there's too much going on here, I think, so let's start thinking on you. You have to be at least 2 digits. Now, you could just be a 2, 9. Can you be 3 digits? Let's think about it for that. Because it's 3 digits, it has to be one high digit, which would be this digit, and it would have to be an 8, because we couldn't use 6, 7, or 9. Now that'll work, right? Because if we can put an 8 here, then we have to put a 1 and a 2. And I don't think that breaks anything else. That would be 8, that would be 1, that would be 2. That would be 5, 4, 6. Oh, maybe that will break. Let's put it in here. 8, 1, 2. It's kind of hard to see that, but that's okay, I can see it. If we do that, you have to be a 5. You have to be a 4. You have to be a 6. But you also have to be a 6, because that would be a 1. So that's no go. Okay, so it is 2 digits, and that means it is a 9. Well, I guess it could be an 8, 3. Hold the horses here for a second. You're either a 2, 9 or an 8, 3. Where you would be the 2, you would be the 9. And the 8, 3 could be anything. The point, though, does remain that this just has to be the 1 and the 7 now. Because we can't put the 1 on here anymore. Which means you're a 7. You're not. And the 1 is going to start to tear this apart, and then maybe that'll come back and tell us what this is. So you will be 6. 1, 4, 6, 5, 4, 8, 5. 3s and 9s, no. Okay. There's something in here that's going to tell us which one it is. We just got to get through it. This is a 3-9 pair. You have to be from 2, 3, 8, and 9, right? Which means, well, it doesn't really mean anything, does it? Because I think these could still work, whatever. So we have to find another way to do it. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? It's probably just a Sudoku thing that I have to find the right answer to. 1s should now be completely done. 2s are left still in X-Wing. 3s are waiting to be finished by what goes on there. 4s are done. 5s are still in X-Wing. Is there another clue I didn't use? I feel like there might be, but it doesn't look like it. 6s are just done. 7s are just done. 8s are not done. And then 9s are not done. Okay. How do we rework this then? Is there something here? Or is there something? I don't think there's going to be anything here because this is 3, 8, 9. You're just not 8. You're not 3. That doesn't tell me a thing. So we got to figure out this. We've done all these other clues. Is there... These can never have a 3 on them. That's what it is. It's going to be a uniqueness kind of thing. but it's not really uniqueness because we don't need to use uniqueness. But what happens if you're a 9? You're well, maybe it's not that. Sorry. If you're a 9, you are the 3, you're the 9. You would be a 3, 8. That would be the 2. If you're the 3, you're the 9, you're the 3. You'd be a, no, that doesn't do it. This would be a 2, 9. And this would be the 8. Unless that's this. Let's go through that again. Did one of those say this is a 3, 8 pair? If that is a 3, that is a 3. Yeah, that's what it is. If this is a 3, this also is a 3, which means the 8 gets removed from our 11 and is put here. This is a 3, 8 pair, and we break you. You are 9. You are 3. You are 9. You are an 8, 3, which means you are the 2. And you can't be a 2 anymore, so you are. Go away. Let's see. You are 3, 5, or 9? Why does this still not feel like it's working correctly? You are 5, 8, 9. You can't be 9. You can't be 9. No, oh, this is a 9. That's what it was. Right? No? Where? Again, what am I missing? Is this another little bit of uniqueness we have to go through? I don't think that will tell me anything. 3, 8, 3, 5, 8. Why is this not working? Oh, it's the negative constraint on the 2. I just remembered. We have to finish this line. If I put an 8 here, the 2 is jumping on. You are the 3. You are the 8. Okay, goodness gracious. You are the 8 and the 3. You will be the 5, 3, 9, 8, 5, 9. Good. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the puzzle, so I'd appreciate if you rate my puzzle, leave a comment on Logics Masters. Go ahead and do that if you'd like to do so. Good puzzle. I really did enjoy that one. It's a good concept to start thinking on. Now, of course, it took us a little while because we had to really think about how these things will work and then start to formulate where things can occur and then what pushes every other button that goes along with it. And it did take me a little while to start, well, the 5, of course, that was just an obvious thing. But then it took me a second to think about this combo here once I started thinking about what was left over and then how this could all work. But once I got that down, it started to move these 2 needles, which then we could start to move across here, et cetera, and then it all started to work together. So good puzzle. Really enjoyed that one. Hope you all did as well, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.